I come from a really strange family. Not strange like Kanye and his testimony on Osteen's stream this last week. Did you guys see that? That was strange. He was like, "Would I be a God was making this beat?" And God was like, "Let me break the hook, Kanye." But Kanye was like, "God, you know I be making the hooks." And you don't even let God make the hook. Fuck that shit. I'm the creator. You know what I'm saying? He said some shit like that. No, but I come from a really strange family. It's mostly because my dad's really weird. Like, my dad's really weird. He recycles ice.
What?
No, I'm not lying. That's a real thing. He recycles ice. I had a friend over for Thanksgiving. You guys ever invited a friend over for Thanksgiving that didn't have anywhere to go? So I invited a friend over to Thanksgiving that didn't have anywhere to go. And after dinner, he was trying to be a polite house guest. He walked to the sink to bring his glass and his dish to the sink. He went to dump out his ice. And my dad was like, "Ah!" And then collected it into a glass of 6 that he has in the freezer that he's reserving for later drinks. That's real shit that my dad does. And all the people who know my dad that I know always want to talk about my dad because that's like entertainment. These are not people who are trying to keep up with the Kardashians. You know? They're trying to keep up with my dad, Gary Rodgerson, and speaking of the Kardashians, Kanye is going to be resurrecting some hits on that record, which he's going to be dropping at churches on Sunday. By churches, I mean obviously Church's Chicken. It's going to come as a free download with an 8-piece, and in honor of Kim Kardashian West, it's going to be all breast and thigh meat. But so. My dad does recycle ice. That's weird. He's kind of like the Anthony Bourdain of the homeless. Except his diet consists of what we call repops. And if you've never heard of repops, let me explain that for you. He also saves all of the unpopped kernels from previous bags of popcorn, and then he repops them in a bag he has also recycled. With just a dollop of olive oil. Just a little bit. Yeah, no, that's not a joke. That's serious shit. So I'm pretty fucked up as a child, you know, as a middle child. He wrote a book, actually. A couple years ago, after his divorce, he wrote a book. You can find it at Barnes & Noble in the post-divorce revenge novel section. Any divorced people out there?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the book you wish you could write, okay? So it gave the expose of my mom, all right? So, and he's been making a crazy amount of money off this book. And it's available on Amazon. It's called The Anatomy of Betrayal. I'm dead serious. You get out your phone to Amazon, Anatomy of Betrayal, Gary Rodgerson. It's a real book. He's selling it. And he's made a ton of money off this book. I'm like, Dad, how are you making so much money? Because, again, Anthony Bourdain of the homeless, the man owns 2 homes because of squatters' rights. So he's selling this book. I said, "Did you make like $10,000 off the book?" "Oh, no, I made way more than $10,000. They're like, "Oh, how much money did you make?" He's like, "Nah, closer to $50,000 or $60,000. Like, "What? How'd you do that?" He goes, "Well, don't tell anybody." And of course, I've been telling everybody all over the country. What he did was, it's based on my mom, but there's a bunch of other people mentioned in the book. What he did was he Googled all the people that are mentioned in the book, and he found all their addresses, and you can look up neighbors' addresses. So he wrote emails and mailed out letters to all the neighbors of the people mentioned in the book, and he said, "You should read my book and find out about your neighbors." And it's actually pretty genius. It's the first time that somebody has used the business model of how to find a sex offender in your area to sell a book. And it's doing well. You know what I mean? It's doing well. And my mom's had to move 6 times because she doesn't want anybody up in her business. But at the same time, every time she moves, more book sales. He keeps getting. So that's real. He did that. That's not a joke. I don't really have to joke when you come from a family like mine. One time, a couple years ago, he got in trouble. He missed one of my comedy shows, and I called him. I was like, where the fuck were you? You missed my comedy show. And he goes, I got arrested. And I was like, what? And what happened was, you guys ever heard of yard Nazis? You guys know what a yard Nazi is? That's when the city comes by and they take pictures of your house. And they profile you for having something against code enforcement. They call them code enforcement officers. My dad calls them yard Nazis. Okay. So, and he said, well, I went to court, and they said that it was an infraction in my backyard. Well, I'll be damned if I'm going to pay a fine over some shit in my backyard. That's my backyard. So he refused in court to pay the fine. And the judge gave him 90 days to pay the fine. He had 90 days to pay the fine. We're going to arrest you. My dad threw his wrists up at the judge. He said, arrest me right now. I'm not paying the fine. 90 days later, they come knocking on the door. My dad has a cold at the time when they come to arrest him. But he tells them, he'll come with them, but he just wants to let them know he has the swine flu. You guys remember when the swine flu was a thing? I'll come with you, but I got the swine flu. And he's coughing and he's hacking the hole again. They handed him the handcuffs and told him he was going to have to fingerprint himself downtown. They take him downtown. They give him one of those masks the Asians are all wearing, walking around downtown. Do we have any Asian people in here tonight? Because I'm trying to find out, what the fuck do they know that we don't? What are we breathing? They give him, not only do they give him a mask, they give him pillows, blankets. He's on an intake, Jay. You know what I mean? Like, that shit doesn't happen. You guys know. It doesn't happen. You know what I mean? They come back later. They bring him soup. They don't have soup in jail. It's not a thing. They give him soup. That's nuts. Yeah, the swine flu. You guys remember the swine flu? It was like allegedly killing people. I was impressed just by what happened. I was no longer mad about him missing my comedy show over that. But as I get older, I start to see some similarities between me and my dad. And so like I'm getting kind of worried about some of those things. And like he just got recently remarried, and his wife came to see one of the comedy shows, and I didn't explain what repops were, and she walked up to me afterwards. She goes, I don't get it, what's a repop? I was like, oh, my dad's playing some other character for you. Because, you know, you're remarried, she doesn't know. I was like, you should ask my